title says, today I'm doing another book review. It's Book Review Fridays. There's a book review every Friday. And today I decided to talk about Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. Do you like my eye makeup? It really inspired me to do something really out there with my eyes, and I kind of love it. Not that I'm going to wear an eye look like this out, but it's perfect for today. Part of Booktubeathon was to pick a book someone else chose for you. LA Knight first chose this book that I wasn't planning on ever reading, and we discussed that I wasn't planning on ever reading this, but her second choice, she was like, I'm reading it to Megan, my sister IK Scott. Her video that she did on my channel is linked down below. So I got a copy from the library, and that's what I read, and I loved it from page one. This is a book I would never have picked up if it weren't for BookTube. LA Knight actually read all but the third one before we even knew about BookTube. She enjoyed it a lot, and she tried to get me to read it, but the plot of the book is a little weird. But then I saw booktubers talking about how excited they were for book 3 and how much they loved book 1. So I was like, fine, I'll put it on my TBR. Booktubeathon rolled around, Raven chose it, and I decided to read it. So what is this about? The main character's name is Karu, and she's always lived in two worlds. One as a mortal art student in Prague, and the other as an assistant to an otherworldly creature called a chimera that raised her. But she's never known who she was and like her past or anything really, like who she came from, who her family was, why she knows these chimeras, until she meets a man with wings and two swords named Akiva. Again, it's a little weird, and there's a thing with teeth. Like, she goes and collects teeth, and Raven was telling me about how the teeth are like a big plot point, and I'm just like, But the hype was so big, I finally picked it up. It is a high fantasy romance, and I'm so glad I did. I loved it. I love this book. This is a favorite. This is a book. I love it even more than Divergent. And Divergent was another big surprise that I picked up because of hype. Not because of BookTube, everyone just got me into it. Everyone read it and was going gaga over it, and so BookTube kind of bleed me that way. So it did kind of do that, I don't know. But I just couldn't get into this. But I love it, even more than Divergent. I love Divergent. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's really, really complicated, like most high fantasy, but it's more complicated than, say, you know, I don't think you can see it, but Trickster's Choice. It's as complicated as, like, the Lord of the Rings and stuff. We're talking epic high fantasy here. Not even just an epic high fantasy that takes place in another world, which is surprising, and it's a young adult, and a lot of young adult fantasy isn't this complicated. It's pretty straightforward, but I really loved it. It is a fast read, despite being so big. It's over 400 pages, so it's quite big, but it's incredibly quick to read, and a big reason is because of the writing. It's very unique, not just like the story, but the voice. It's beautiful, not like Lord of the Rings close, but I had just read the Lord of the Rings and I was comparing and contrasting. I'm like, it's not Lord of the Rings quality, but I've never read a book that was, except like Shakespeare. But it's really, really good writing and really beautiful. And it just draws you in, and you get swept up into the story, and you're wondering what's going on. How does there's Akiva. Apparently they know it. How do they know each other? How do they? I was kind of spoiled. I have been spoiled for the whole series almost, because LA Knight was seriously trying to get me to read it, and I wouldn't do it. That didn't like ruin anything for me. I was still intrigued. I still wasn't certain about a lot of things. Like, I know the history between her and Akiva, but I didn't know anything else. So let's just get into specifics. This may be spoilerific, so if you don't want to be spoiled or you don't want to hear specifics, goodbye. One of the things that LA Knight, she didn't actually ever say this to me, I don't recall, but she said the main character Karu and her best friend, their version of Susanna, reminded her of me and her. The way they treat each other, the way they act, the conversations, and oh my gosh, the pocket cake combo? What, did you get me a present? Asked Susanna. It was Karu's turn to snort. You're like a kid when her parents come home from a party, checking their pockets for cake. Ooh, cake! I'll take cake, but not pocket cake, because yuck. I have no cake. Sigh. What kind of friend are you anyway? Me and Raven have combos just like that! Just that weird! And it was just like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone get me and Raven down so well. And we don't know Laini Taylor. I never met Laini Taylor. And oh my gosh, it's like she was totally paralleling me and LA Knight. It was amazing. And it was just, it added this flavor. And I was like, no matter what, I'm gonna love this series. I'm gonna love this series. But it was just like me and LA Knight. Oh my gosh, yes! Perfect! Ah! And LA Knight says it even gets better, and she spoiled me for something else that happens, and she was like, and she and I were almost in tears because we're like, that's our relationship, like sisters of the heart, man. I can't live this life without LA Knight. She's not my soulmate, she's my soul sister, and I love it. And I've only seen it in one other thing, and that is ElfQuest, which used to be over here but no longer is, by Wendy and Richard Pini. It was just like that. I mean, I've never seen it other than that, and I'm just like, and even then the relationship isn't the same. It's just, oh my gosh, I love it. The way the romance is written is beautiful. It's beautiful. When I read this, I knew I had to own this book. It's on page 71, and it says, Karu wished she could be the kind of girl who was complete unto herself, comfortable in solitude, serene. But she wasn't. She was lonely, and she feared the missingness within her as if it might expand and cancel her. She craved a presence beside her, solid, fingertips light at the nape of her neck, and a voice meeting hers in the dark. Someone who would wait with an umbrella to walk her home in the rain and smile like sunshine when he saw her coming. Who would dance with her on her balcony, keep his promises and know her secrets, and make a tiny world wherever he was with just her and his arms and his whisper and her trust. That is what I feel. That is the way I feel about romance. The way I feel as someone who is not with somebody. It's like Laini Taylor saw into my heart and put it in words in this beautiful paragraph. It blew me away, and over again throughout the book. That's what she does. That makes this an amazing book. That is why it's 5 out of 5 stars. That is why it's so popular. That is wordsmithing, to quote a term me and LA Knight use. When writing is just beautiful. Tolkien does it every sentence, almost, in The Lord of the Rings. He does it all the time in The Hobbit. Conversations, entire battles are just beautiful word for word. She doesn't do it the whole time, but over and over she does. And it's just, I love that. This is definitely spoilerific, but I love how the ending isn't all happy-go-lucky. It ends on a horrible note, to be honest. But it draws me in. I can't wait to read book 2. I was sad I wasn't going to continue reading. I should have just done that for book 2, but thought I would have done all of the books. Oh, I love that. I love the ending. It's just so unique and different. And yet, there's still this hope. The thing I don't like is that the MCs have sex. They had sex before the marriage. I don't like that in any book, no matter what it is. I just don't. And that's a personal preference thing. That has nothing to do with, whether I'm going to own it or not. I can glance past it and look past it. The things I love is when Karu's talking with Brimstone, one of the last conversations they have. Letting you go, Karu, will be like opening the window for a butterfly. One does not hope for the butterfly's return. I'm not a frickin' butterfly. I love that. They're having this serious conversation. I am not a butterfly. Okay. Of course, the pocket cake conversation and the whole scene with Susanna and Akiva and Karu in the restaurants. Oh, hell. Must. Mate. Immediately. And then, ask him if he's in love with you. Karu almost choked. She turned her whole body into her Chana faces out and held up a hand before she protested. I know. You're not going to ask him that, and you don't need to. He so is. Look at him. I'm afraid he's going to set you on fire with his crazy orange eyes. You're just so funny. And then, of course, going back to the romance that I love, you don't have to be afraid, Karu. How could it be awful? It's you. You can only be beautiful. That's like beautiful. And this I tweeted during Booktubeathon, and a whole bunch of people have favorited it. It is my favorite line in this whole entire book, and it's one of my favorite quotes that I've read so far this year. Love is a luxury. No. Love is an element. Swoon! Akiva! Hot! Not, he was hot before, but now he is hot! Oh my goodness! Oh man, I want an Akiva. I want an Akiva. But I don't want to separate him from Karu because their love is like so perfect and I just want to read about it and it's amazing and I just love this book. It's a 5 out of 5 stars. Them having sex brings it down from 100% to a 90%. There's only 2 things that I've read that's scored higher in the percentage-wise with books, and that would be Night of Owls, Batman Night of the Owls. Right underneath that with a 95% is Divergent by Veronica Roth. Third favorite book of the year. Definitely love this, read this, own this. Y'all will like it. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I have more videos coming as always, so please subscribe to see more craziness with my crazy eye makeup I do for these videos. And I hope you enjoyed. I'm wearing a dress because it matches the cover. I thought it would look better. Alright, love you guys. Bye! Not from Booktubeathon. Booktube. And that's so psyching. Psyching. What am I saying? I'm babbling. I'm sorry. It's close to 500 if I recall. No, not close to 500. It's over 400 pages. I'm gonna... Is this it? No, it's not it. Is this it? Oh, yes! The beeping is pizza. Sorry, I hope you can't hear it. But I'm gonna talk over it because I need to finish this. I think I might have been able to do all of Lord of the